What are the benefits of CJC-1295 Ipamorelin? Well, in this video, we'll deconstruct some of the benefits, but we'll also talk about the risks because this does not have FDA approval. However, it's been used for performance enhancement in thousands of people, but I'll show you how you can look out for some of the risks and some of the things you could be aware of when it comes to activating that beautiful pathway called growth hormone, and how you can maximize your sleep and how you can do so many great things when you have adequate levels of growth hormone. I'm Regan Archibald. I've been obsessed with helping you feel, look, and perform your best. I have a company called Ageless Future where we help you take a deep dive when it comes to looking at labs, understanding where the imbalances are, the dysfunctions. And so if you want to go deeper, go to agelessfuture.com. My team will take care of you from there. So what are the benefits of CJC? Well, originally it's been looked at for a couple of decades, and it was actually in the phase 2 human trials, and everything was stopped abruptly. And so before we talk about the benefits, I'll talk to you about where the human research kind of stalled out. Now, for those of you who love CJC-1295 and you're like, oh, it's totally safe and let's not go down this road. Well, I apologize, but we have, full disclosure is really important. But they stopped the study because a participant died. And the leading clinician who was running the research, he actually said he didn't think it had anything to do with the CJC-1295. This person had a cardiovascular event that was probably unrelated, but they did stop it. And with CJC-1295, if you compare it to like tesamorelin, which does have FDA approval, sermorelin, which does have off and on FDA approval, or mecamorelin, it does have a higher risk profile. Here's what we found is CJC-1295, it does cause some flushing, can cause redness, but if you're not using it properly and getting it from a right resource, you could also see some immunogenicity. So where your immune system, you get the histamine response, and there has been reported cases of people having more like anaphylaxis symptoms. So if you are using this, make sure you're working with a licensed medical provider, medical team. Make sure they're sourcing it through a proper distribution channel, which is a 503A licensed facility or 503B. And then always start slow. I mean, I'm a big believer in just the smallest little pulses, the smallest inputs we can relay into your biology that yield the highest outputs. And that's the goal with CJC. Because CJC, when used properly, some of the benefits, deep sleep enhancement. I mean, when you have growth hormone that's optimized, you remember how great you slept when you were a kid? Your head would hit the pillow, you'd sleep through the night, you'd wake up in the morning just feeling so refreshed and ready to take on the day. I remember one of the worst mornings of my life is when I slept in. And this was when I was maybe 10 years old, but I used to go and spend the summers with my grandpa on the farm in Idaho. And if I didn't wake up when he woke up, he would just go to work without me, and then I'd just go catch up with him. But I always liked to be there with him. And I woke up, I saw where the sun was in the sky. I'd slept till like 8 a.m. and I was devastated. I started crying and went and found him and was like, I vowed never to sleep in again. And I pretty much haven't, but I felt so good as a kid. And when I use some of these growth hormone releasing peptides, it's that same experience. CJC, I like using it in the morning because I'm a sensitive snowflake when it comes to sleep. So if I use it at night, that flushing gets my body a little bit revved up, and so I don't fall asleep as fast. But I find in the morning, as long as you're in a fasted state, it can work really darn well. And when you stack the Ipamorelin, you could even do these at 2 separate times if you really want to get the pulse. Because growth hormone, it's activated when we work really hard. So if you do a hard workout in the gym, especially that high intensity where you're getting your heart rate up, or maybe you're doing some of the Norwegian 4x4, like the VO2 max training, you're doing 4 minutes, as all out or as hard as you can go, and then you rest for 2 or 3 minutes, and then you go 4 minutes, and then for me, I rest 3 or 4 minutes. It's an amazing workout, but you're gonna get a nice influx of growth hormone after you work out hard. The other time you get it is when you go to sleep at night. That deep sleep that you get, ideally before midnight. This is where we have the 8 essentials. Anyone who starts a Ageless Future program with us, we want to make sure you're going to bed by 9:30, you're up around 5:30. And yes, we have surveillance cameras. You do have to be compliant. Go to bed when we tell you. But actually, if you can fall asleep before midnight, it's such a powerful thing. Follow the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours before you go to bed, stop eating food. 2 hours before you go to bed, stop drinking fluids. Hour before you go to bed, it's a great time to start winding down. Turn off your phone, turn off your computer, grab a book, make love, get in front of a fire. Flames, actually our brains are driven to see the safety around a fire. That's what kept some of the predators away when we were hunters and gatherers. So the fire actually relaxes the brain. So these are things you can do, but when you add in some of the benefits of CJC, here's what we've seen. CJC, number one, it's like a nighttime software update. So it goes in, and when you get that growth hormone pulse, you add a little more time to your deep sleep, and that's what protects your brain. Why it's so important is because when you activate the growth hormone pathway. Growth hormone is just kind of the conductor. The symphony and the music is coming from IGF-1. So IGF-1 gets mobilized, and then IGF-1 turns on a gene in your brain called BDNF. And BDNF is what creates neuroplasticity. And when you sleep at night, your brain requires 25% of the entire electrical energy in your entire body. When you're awake, it's about 20%. So by using the CJC, that nighttime software update, you're activating BDNF. You're getting better clearance of these proteins that cause inflammation in the brain. And that's one of the reasons we need to sleep. We don't know all the reasons or all the mechanisms or the duration of sleep yet, but we do know that you have to clear out that lymphatic circulation. It's a detoxification process for the brain. You know how it feels when you've had a great night's sleep. So you're getting this metabolic makeover in the brain through sleep. And the other thing it does is when you activate growth hormone, your thymus gland comes to life. So you create this thymus firewall where instead of this involution, because your thymus gland is biggest birth, and then it just starts to shrink as we age. By the age of 65, it's about the size of a pea. And that was not a pea that I showed you. Okay, the size of a pea. And so what happens is you activate the thymus gland. Now your peptides that are made, these thymulin type peptides, like thymulin, like thymosin alpha 1, thymus beta 4, ABP7, these get activated, and your white blood cells have more intelligence. Your macrophages know what to attack, what to clear out. And so you get rid of this thing called immunosenescence, which is one of the hallmarks of aging. So you're making over your thymus gland. The other big benefit is you get this better rapid utilization of energy. So anytime you think about energy that's sitting around in your body being stored, where does energy get stored? In the fat. The one thing your body can store, it can store glucose, and you can store a lot of glucose in your liver. You can store a lot of it in your muscles. You can store it in other places, but the secondary system that your body stores is fat. Your body doesn't store protein. Your muscles are the protein that are stored, and so if you deplete the fat and you deplete the sugar or the glucose, then your body will break down proteins. And sometimes if you're metabolically inflexible, you're going to be breaking down the proteins in your glutes and in your legs and your muscle, and that's going to lead to you gaining more weight, getting fatter if your body's in this kind of this metabolic imbalance. So with CJC, what it does is with growth hormone and deep sleep, now your body is rearranging the metabolic signaling. Your growth hormone is there, so it puts your body in a state of relaxation. There's not this threat of survival because you're thriving when you have adequate levels of growth hormone. If you overexpress it, overexpress IGF-1, that can feed certain types of cancer. So you want to make sure that you're cycling this, you're taking days off, you're eating at appropriate times, you're doing some fasting when you're utilizing this. But many people also report a nice increase in libido. So there's some benefits to libido when it comes to longevity, that human-to-human connection, the oxytocin, which is what makes life worth living, right? So if you're thinking about some of the benefits of CJC, once again, make sure you're working with a licensed medical team. If you have the need to go deeper, if you really want to look at your labs, find out what's best for you, go to agelessfuture.com. My team will take great care of you. Appreciate you being on the channel. See you on the next video.